Looking at Douglas Robinson becoming a translator, just a few random thoughts. Looking at chapter 6, and there's a discussion called People, and it finishes with a quote which I think is really valuable to us and we can all learn from it. Apparently it's from Wittgenstein, and it is, "The meaning of a word is its use in the language." Really, I think, good point. Something a lot of non-translators never really understand. I think a non-translator imagines that there's a kind of underlying source code of the world, and each word in a different language maps onto a different bit of this source code, and there's a kind of one-to-one relationship, and you eventually will be able to kind of say, okay, this concept can't be expressed in English, but it can be expressed in Arabic. And then if we translate that, there's a German equivalent but not a French equivalent, and the closest French thing is this term, da 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 da, as though it's a sort of scientific kind of correlation, when it isn't. It is not that at all. It is a complex series of relations where, if there is an underlying scientific equivalency to the human experience, it is so deeply encoded that when an AI can do it, an AI will also be able to think and feel and talk and do everything a human can. So if an AI can do that, then yeah, it'll be able to translate. But there's this idea that, AIs only need to be half as good to translate because it's already got the words. But actually the words don't really give you any meaning. The words are 10-20% of it. What you need is the knowledge behind the words. That's what translators do, is we look for the knowledge behind the words. How is... I wanted to reference... Just wanted to know, your husband, Steve, your former manager, Stephen, has applied to be a sales assistant. Was he a good worker while he worked for you? Oh, well, his wife is pretty. Yeah, his wife is gorgeous. Thanks. Why was he saying that? Do we think Stephen's a good employee? Was that answer really about Stephen's wife? Would that kind of deflection be appropriate in every culture? Was it communicating something? There's a good exercise actually in the book where it talks about, think of a dog or a cat and then think of all the terms and all the expressions and the idioms you can think of and see how they align. And that's something I do quite regularly for different words. What is a certificate? What is a whatever? And you'll find that they never match up completely. There's always differences. And the skill of the translator is sort of choosing the most appropriate, knowing that there are some differences there. So yeah, interesting exercises. I think the exercises in chapter 6 are the most worthwhile for coming to understand the problems you will have if you are translating. If you're already a good translator, I'm not sure it'll add anything. You should kind of know it anyway. But if you're new, those exercises, going through that process, will help you understand why it's going to be difficult for you to be a good translator and some of the things you're going to need to do about it. So yeah, interesting. Thanks.